There are so many things that I want to say about this film. Great sign that you've got something excellent on your hands. The Wild Robot is breathtaking. It surprises you. It makes the most mundane concepts and storylines super engaging and entertaining. And that's due to a lot of factors like the gorgeous cinematography, art style, attention to detail, dialogue. This film has such strong dialogue, incredible sound design and film score, sincere and effective voice acting from the cast, a beautiful message about the invaluable value of kindness, and also the crucial emotion of love. There are so many things going for this film, and it's an instant classic in my book. And not just mine, of course. If you've seen the ratings for this film, it is overwhelmingly positive, and after watching the movie, deservedly so. To be completely honest, when I first saw the first trailer for this film, I wasn't too blown away. I thought that the art style was gorgeous. I really liked the song choice, What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. But there was also another part of me that didn't really understand what the trailer was trying to say about the film. I didn't really understand what was going on in the trailer. It felt like a hodgepodge of just random elements, you know? Let's throw in a robot into a forest or an island and let's make it raise this little duck slash gosling. It felt so scatterbrained to me that I didn't really understand the deeper themes and messages behind it. And so while this movie was on my radar, it wasn't like my most anticipated movie for the remaining year. I would say that movie would probably have to be Wicked. But man, oh man, did this movie surprise me. The Wild Robot is about this robot from Universal Dynamics that crashes onto an island inhabited by these wild animals that starts to inhabit the world of the animals and starts to become one with them, going so far as to learn their language and be able to speak with them and communicate with them and even try and assist them with their various tasks, because that's what Rosms were manufactured to do. And this Rosm in particular, 7134, starts to cultivate this new sensation that it wasn't programmed for. It's like that quote in the trailer, "Sometimes to survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be." With that shot of Roz and Bright Bill leaning against each other's heads. So beautiful. And yeah, with the help of Fink and the other wildlife and Bright Bill, Roz starts to become more than what she was manufactured and programmed to be. She doesn't just operate from up there anymore, but also from down here. I love it. There are a lot of spiritual concepts in this film. If you've been here a while, you know that I'm spiritual. And so it's kind of funny to me that I overlooked the spiritual concepts and elements when I initially watched the first trailer for the first time. But as you're watching this movie, and if you're spiritual, you will see the clear spiritualness of it all. By the way, I don't think this film is supposed to be spiritual, but inherently it is, because it's dealing with the idea and emotion of love and also nature and egolessness and detaching from the modern world and our quote-unquote programming. There's a lot of spiritual stuff here. Whether that's intended or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, whether you're spiritual or not, you will get a kick out of this film. It is family friendly. You can watch it with your grandparents, your partner, your kids, the cat down the road, pretty much anyone. And this story is masterful because, as I mentioned before, this story shouldn't really work. It's a story about a robot taking care of a duck. That shouldn't be as good as it is, but because of its magnificent art style and cinematography, that just provides an explosion of visuals that you just can't help but awe over. The incredible sound design and music that just elevates everything to the next level. The musical score in this is so important and crucial to what makes this so lively and transforms this seemingly mundane storyline to something that is so much more than that, that's packed with so much emotions. The pacing, the dialogue, and the comedy in this is essential to what makes this movie stand out and entertaining. If the pacing was too slow, then this movie would feel like an absolute drag, because at the core of this movie, we're just watching a duck slash goose just swimming and flying, but because of its good pacing, time just seems to fly by. And this movie isn't that long, it's only around an hour 30 minutes, but it makes great use of its runtime. And yeah, if it weren't for the excellent dialogue, which sounds like poetry at so many points, especially from that old goose slash duck guy, I think his name is Longneck or something, the things that he says should be written down in a museum and hanged on its wall. Brother says the most beautiful poetic things. In the trailer he says, "It is more dangerous for him than anyone else, but he has a chance. If where his wings end, his heart can pay the balance." Hello? Print that on a mug. Print that on a mug and sell it in stores everywhere. But it's not just him who says profound things. Pretty much everyone in this film is going through something and has insight on the world that is just super helpful and insightful. Roz says, the processing that used to happen here is now coming more from here. So beautiful. This movie is deceptively simple but extremely complex. Do you need assistance? I just love Roz's voice, and that speaks levels to the voice acting in this film. Lupita Nyong'o is the voice actress for Roz. She was already an incredible actress before, but I have a newfound respect for her after this role because she had to pretty much carry this entire movie just with her voice alone. That is not an easy thing to do as someone who pretty much does voiceovers. Yeah, carrying a narrative and telling a story just through your voice is not easy. So props to Lupita, and also, Pedro Pascal and Joe Locke and Catherine O'Hara and Mark Hamill and the rest of the cast for giving such a wonderful voice performance. The voice acting is incredible, but if the characters, the wild animals weren't written well, then it wouldn't be as good. But thankfully, the dialogue and just the characters are fleshed out. Every character feels unique and has unique behaviors and traits that distinguishes them apart from the rest. Everyone has great chemistry with each other. They're really funny. Even the quote-unquote side characters are entertaining, like the beaver. But I also really liked Fink, Bright Bill, of course, Long Neck, the possum mother and her 6 or 7 children, the bear. I love the bear. Thunderbolt was so cool. And also, yeah, Vontra was not there for very long, but she was pretty scary when she was on screen. I guess it isn't surprising that this film is as good as it is if you knew the director of the film beforehand, who is Chris Sanders, who directed movies like Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. And those two films are very similar to The Wild Robot in the sense that it follows the story of someone or something from another place or world trying to adapt to their new alien environment, and showing how even though these two species or these two characters are different, they can still unite as one through friendship or love or whatever it may be. And this story has that same formula and foundation. This film also reminds me a lot of The Iron Giant. Beautiful film. So if you're familiar with those movies and you're fond of them, then you're bound to love The Wild Robot because it isn't necessarily novel. We've kind of seen stories like this multiple times before, and that's the beautiful thing about it, in my opinion. Movies are timeless and infinite. We all experience these emotions of love, confusion, alienation, loneliness, inspiration, courage. We all feel those emotions, but how that manifests outwards is completely unique to the individual. And so even though the foundations of this story are somewhat generic, the way they bring the story to life is incredibly unique and novel. It's a story about a robot taking care of a duck, and it has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I love that. It makes me so happy. For those of you that know Common Sense Media, it's got a 5 out of 5 stars rating on that platform, 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb. This film is a hit no matter how you look at it. But again, the concept is kind of generic, so that might turn away some people, which is unfortunate because this film has so much to offer. I think my favorite part of the film has to be around the last 30 to 40 minutes or so, when that snowstorm hits that island. There's a particular sequence that happens between Fink and Roz that I just love. The dialogue in that specific sequence is so heart-wrenching but also heartwarming. I love that. This whole movie is super incredible, but I would say that the later parts were my favorite. This film has already won one award, I believe, and it's only been out for a couple days, and I hope that it gets even more awards. I think Lupita was either nominated or won an award for this film already for her voice acting, which is well deserved, and I hope that the awards just keep stacking for this film. It completely surprised me. I was not expecting it to be this deep, yet simple, yet heartwarming and insightful, and to be such a pure and essential reflection of the human experience while having no humans in it. That's another thing. There are no human characters in this film, which is kind of refreshing. It's doing okay at the box office, but I would love for it to be doing even better. So please go out there with your family and friends and watch The Wild Robot in theaters. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I just really love this film. It is excellent. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day.